Hi everyone. Well, welcome. It's 3:30. Well, 3:33. So I'm like 3 minutes late because I left domestic violence blessing number 5919. Surprises. Okay. I just have a story to share with you all today. Um this is one of those stories where it kind of comes full circle, okay? So, I will try my best to explain what I'm feeling here and everything like that. Um, the opportunity to have a speaking engagement 5 days ago with Elizabeth Smart was amazing, right? And thank you for popping up here. Hi, guys. So, this opportunity to see and be with Elizabeth Smart, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll be able to talk with her, maybe share my book, like give it to her, or give her my other book. Hey, Sunny, I need to give you this book, by the way. And I was thinking, oh, that'll be great. Well, she was kept off site. And then she came in and she explained her story and all of that. And I understand why. With those two big bodyguards, understand, okay, need to have some protection. So before anything really started with Elizabeth, gotta spell my names right. Sitting at the round tables, talking, hi, my name, and where are you from? All of the chit chat that you have, before you get going on the day. So I sat at one table and shared information back and forth, and it was really good. And then I got this nudge to go to another table, which was kind of embarrassing. Like, I'm gonna go sit over here. Like, that's really weird, but that's what happened. So I went over there and I sat at this table. And hi, Pam, how are you? Yes, it is a wonderful Sunday. And I sat at this other table and hi, my name is, and what's your name? And, do the introductions. And then I ask, so why do you come to this conference? What brought you here today? And she says, oh, my name is Brittany, and I am an advocate with the North Salt Lake Police Department. I'm like, what? North Salt Lake? That's well, and my brain is just buzzing right here because that's really awesome. And I said, "Do you know Officer Dracher?" And she's like, yes, I do." And I'm like, "Oh, does he still work there?" And she says, "No, he's moved to a different place." And I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing." And then, of course, I pull out my book and I say, "He's in this book." And she's like, "What?" I said, "This is the book I wrote about how I escaped domestic violence and how my life is happening now and everything like that." And she's like, "Wow." And I said, "Could you get this to the officer?" And she was like, "Yes, I can." So I hurried and wrote down, signed my name, and I said, "Dear Officer Dresha, that um, you're in this book on page 165 to 166, and you made a big difference in my life." So I wrote all that down, and then I gave it to Brittany. And then I gave Brittany a second copy, like, "Here, one for you." And, then the conference goes on and so forth. We have lunch, do Q&A, all the fun stuff. And now it's my turn to get ready to speak. So I leave and set everything up and get things ready. As I'm putting things together, I notice a man coming towards me, very tall, big, like buff dude. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you Officer Drescher?" And he says, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." I said, "Do you know that you saved my life almost 16 years ago?" And we just kind of stood there, and my eyes are wet, and his eyes are wet, and I'm thinking, I can't, I could not believe what was happening. And I said, "How are you here? How did you get here?" And um, He says, "Oh, well," and I said, Did Brittany call you?" And he says, "Yes." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I have to share this real quick. So here we go. There he is. He's right there. That's Officer Drescha. So in my story, in the book, he was part of the arrest for my first husband, unfortunately, and all of that happened at school carpool time. Don't recommend that. Anyway, uh he was there, his partner was there, and partner took away my, you know, first husband at the time, took him away, and he just kind of stayed around. I was finishing things up, coming out to my car, and I noticed him walking towards me in the car. And I get out of my car and we have this chat, and he says, "I feel I need to give you this." And it was a card for safe harbor. And with that, he says, "I need you to call this number because if you're planning on leaving, please call and let this group know. Because if your father in law or whatever calls and says you don't come back home or the kids are missing, then I have to probably come for kidnapping." And I'm like, "Ugh, I didn't know anything. I had a plan, but I didn't know all of these other pieces. I was just focused on how to get out." So this is like 4 hours, the times it takes to book somebody into jail and all of that. So I'm making this plan work. And when he gives me this card, I'm thinking right there, do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? I'm going to go. And he says, "If you go, please call this number." He handed it to me. And that's when the action started. And many of you know the story. And again, in this book. And so all of these memories just come flooding out. And I said, "Can I hug you?" So we hug. It was an embrace, right? And I just couldn't believe that this gal right here, Brittany, who I had just met at the table, or I'd sat at a different table, and it was like, move to this table. So I moved to that table and I meet Brittany and North Salt Lake Police Department. She knows him. Like all of these things happening. See that smile? Like, I can't believe it. And right there, I'm thinking, I'm going to be so excited that she gives him the book. That's all I'm thinking. Not that he's going to show up. And there he is, just minutes before I'm gonna start to speak. Just minutes. And he's like, "How are you doing? What happened since we saw each other?" And he remembers 2006. Now, not everything, but he remembers. And I said, "I'm about ready to speak. Can you stay?" And he said yes, that he would stay. So he stays. I know, right? 16 years. It was so awesome, and it was beautiful. So he stays, and people are starting to come in, and I said, "Can I have you stand up and part of the speech?" And he said, "Yes, I'd be honored." I said, "Okay." So he started doing the speech. We start talking about how to be a supporter, how, like, what you can do as a family and friends and as a coworker. If you know somebody who's in an abuse, what can you do to help without becoming a professional advocate? What do you do? So I explain a little bit more of my own story, and then explain at this moment, and I just stopped everything, and I said, "Officer Drescher, can you stand up, please?" So he stood up, and the whole room got really quiet, and I said, "This is the man who handed me the card to Safe Harbor, who gave me some great information, and he's been saved my life, knowing when to run and all of that." So I'm telling you, there was not a dry eye. in the room, and that was just so unexpected. What a surprise. This blessing, number 5,919, what a surprise. And then, of course, sitting next to him is Brittany, so I have her stand up, and I just say, "You never know when you open your mouth." And that is the exact point of being a supporter. This is the exact point of how you help somebody. You become their friends, you make connections, and you build trust, and you allow the victim to become the person that they need to be. And when they're ready, they'll go. When the opportunity presents itself, they'll go. And learning all about this with the officer, like I shared before, it's one of those things where you can't believe it. And yet there it is, right there. Officer Drescher. Anyways, an amazing name like mine, right? Tough to say. That just emphasized with me that everything was going to be okay. So there he is, popping up, a near 16-year reunion again. And you just never know. You never know when you share about things. Yes, Pam, he got to hear the whole story about where I was that night until where I am today, showing, pictures of people understanding the book, understanding how to support each other, um, me helping ghost writing for all these other women and people and just everything. And there was an emphasis what I wanted to say to all in the room. They were all professional supporters, advocates, police officers, licensed clinical social workers, everything. And I said, I stand here to share hopefully more stories than just one. And when we leave and when we get out, I know you're on parts of this watch, and you may never know what happens afterwards. You may never know what happens next, and you probably wonder. And Officer Drescher, he wondered. Now, my case happens to be kind of high profile, in which my ex ex-husband has been arrested many times and caused lots of challenging problems within the valley. So he's well known. Anyway, the point is when those things keep reoccurring, you wonder about other people who've been involved in the past or in today. And now he knows we're safe. We share so many stories together, and that his work in giving me that card for safe harbor was really made all the difference. Learning about protective orders, learning about how to keep my family safe, and learning and hoping that my ex-husband can find some help and support too. I hope he's taken advantage of what's been offered to him. So that was the big news. That was the whole thing. And I couldn't share it on that Wednesday night. It was so late and then so many things happening on the next few nights. I thought I'll just save it until today. So thank you, Lena. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Sandra, for coming, for being a part of this live today. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And so if you have anything in your life that needs some help and some support, if you need some light, please pick up a copy of Pinpoints of Light, share it with others, take it to your local shelters, and know that how you help and support someone really means life for someone else. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to connect more with the officer and show him other things. And this is a side note. His wife actually worked with my son Garrett and my other son Isaac in the Northern Utah autism program. So his wife Terry knows me, knows my son, who's now 22, and Terry knew me while I was in the abuse, and her husband, 3 years after that experience, is the one who helps us to get out. The world is small, the Lord is good, and you just never know who you're going to help, and maybe in the future, you'll be permitted to see what your works did and who you helped. So, again, this is because I left domestic violence blessing number 5,919. Surprises, they can be amazing. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and giving support. We'll see y'all. Bye bye.